When someone passes away, they leave behind a complex legal process called probate. This process involves a court overseeing the distribution of their assets and making sure that debts and taxes are paid off. Unfortunately, most estates are required to go through probate court proceedings. And let me tell you, it can get quite expensive. There's court fees, attorney fees, filing fees, and accounting fees. I mean, you name it, there's probably a fee for it. And it all adds up to a hefty sum that can easily reach in the thousands of dollars. But it's not just about the money. Probate is also incredibly time consuming. It can drag on for months, leaving your grieving loved ones stuck in a tough spot, trying to navigate through complicated legal procedures while still mourning their loss. It's no wonder that so many people want to find ways to avoid probate as much as possible. That's why when creating your estate plan, it's such a good idea to explore options to just bypass probate. Today, I have 7 ways for you to legally avoid probate. Before I give you these tips, I need you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode on the Senior Resource Network. We are your #1 source for retirement planning, caregiving tips, and living your best. My name is Jennifer, and I am always happy to share, educate, and answer any questions you have, whether you're well into your golden years or just planning ahead. Now, let's talk about some ways your estate can avoid probate. All right, so number 1, you can establish a living trust. A living trust is a legal document that holds assets on behalf of the person who creates it. While alive, the person who created the trust controls and manages the assets. This means that you can make changes to the trust's terms, add or remove assets, and even change beneficiaries if needed. So by placing your assets in a revocable living trust, you effectively remove them from your individual ownership and transfer them to the trust's ownership. So upon your passing, the assets held within the trust will be distributed to your beneficiaries you have designated. And since these assets are already owned by the trust, they don't need to go through probate. Number 2, consider joint ownership. Joint ownership is simply when 2 or more people own a property together. If one of those people dies, the ownership automatically transfers to the surviving owner. Think of it like husband-wife home ownership. Now, these next 2 ways to avoid probate have long, kind of confusing names, but I promise we're going to break it down for you. Number 3 is you can establish a joint tenancy with the right of survivorship. I know, that was a mouthful. In a joint tenancy with the right of survivorship, multiple individuals come together to own a financial account or asset jointly. Think business partners. Under this ownership structure, each person holds an equal right to the asset. So when one of the co-owners passes away, the surviving partner automatically becomes the sole owner of that asset without the need for probate. So this type of joint ownership can be applicable to various types of financial accounts and assets, including bank accounts, investments, or, you probably guessed it, real estate. I should also probably note for you that the deceased owner's beneficiaries cannot inherit the asset designated as a joint tenancy once the agreement is established. Number 4 is another scary sounding phrase, but it's actually pretty straightforward. Tenancy by the entirety. Tenancy by the entirety is when a married couple legally owns a property as a single unit rather than as 2 separate individuals. This means that both spouses have equal shares and are in agreement on all decisions regarding the asset. Think of it as like when a married couple owns a bunch of rental properties, the spouses would essentially be business partners. If one spouse passes away, the ownership of the property automatically transfers to the surviving spouse. In addition to helping you avoid probate, this form of ownership also offers some protection against individual creditors. The property is considered a joint marital asset, so it's not subject to claims from creditors of only one spouse. Tenancy by the entirety is not available in all states, and it might be restricted to real estate only. So I'm going to provide a link in the video description with a list of states that recognize this type of agreement. Okay, number 5. Think about establishing a payable on death account, or a POD account. A payable on death account is a bank account where the client designates a beneficiary who would receive all the funds in the account after the owner's death. Assets from this type of account are immediately transferred to the beneficiary upon your death, therefore eliminating the need for probate. The process of setting up a POD account is relatively simple. So as the account owner, you can inform your bank about your beneficiary designation, and typically this just involves completing a form provided by your bank. And number 6. In some states, a small estate affidavit is an option to avoid probate. It's basically a sworn statement saying that the value of all of your assets fall below a certain amount. Every state has a different definition of what qualifies as a small estate, but it's typically between $100,000 and $250,000. All right, finally, let's talk about gifting. So gifting enables you to transfer your assets right to your beneficiaries during your lifetime. It's a concept that's pretty straightforward. You can simply give property, money, or other valuable possessions to your loved ones before you pass. And once it's theirs, those items don't go through probate court when you pass away later on. However, I should note that gifting might come with tax implications, and the size of the gift can often determine that. So the rules and regulations regarding gift taxes can vary from one state to another. So that's just something to be aware of. Thanks for joining me on the Senior Resource Network, your #1 source for retirement planning, caregiving tips, and living your best. I'm Jennifer. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and visit us at seniorresource.com for so much more great content. And if you're still with me, I want to offer you an exclusive free ebook. It's the Ultimate Estate Planning Checklist and Guide. All you have to do is check out the episode description for the link, enter your email, and the ebook comes directly to your inbox, completely free. And that's it for me. So until next time, keep living your best.